Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here to explore teas as usual. I got a nice Taiwanese tea today. I'm going to go ahead and get it started. Usual Chinese style equipment here. My gaiwan, the original tea preparation kit. Because of its simplicity, I would imagine that the gaiwan is as old, if not older, than a teapot, because a teapot is basically a gaiwan with a spout and a handle, right? So let me rake out enough here, and I'm going to be using enough. This is about a 4-ounce gaiwan. It would hold that much water if it were empty, but I'm going to scoop in enough here to cover the bottom, say, inch to inch and a half diameter of the bottom of my gaiwan here. Let me add just a few more leaves there. That looks good. All right, seal this up just for a moment. Add my water. My water's been brought to a very early boil, so it started to kind of rumble. Didn't really get to a full rolling boil, but it's been cooling now for a little over a minute. Still got plenty of heat. Not too much heat, but this temperature and this style just kind of allows for consistency across reviews. So if you go and look at more than one Walker Tea review, you'll note that I try to use very similar procedures for teas, especially so that you can kind of compare how they perform on a more equal playing field. So let me let that steep and sit for just a moment and talk about this tea. This is from Teasatia. This is their DongDing. You can get 3.5 ounces available right now for $20, and right now being time of this review. Not a lot of background provided. DongDing is traditionally a Taiwanese tea from the DongDing mountain area region of Taiwan. It is a higher elevation tea, so it's associated with specific areas. It's which relates to the altitude at which the tea is grown or harvested. And let me say it this way. Taiwanese teas can have a range of roasting levels. Some producers, craftsmen, are using a lighter level, so you get more greener, vegetal, and even light floral notes there. Others are staying with more traditional styles, which would use more heat, so you're getting toasty, honey, maybe even lightly roasted nut type characteristics coming out of the teas there. So we're going to be looking at this tea in particular to talk about where it falls along that spectrum. I'm going to look at the dry leaf first. Let me get this open here and have a look at this tea. Okay, first off, I get some kind of English laurel notes, which is a light floral, but still has a kind of woody shrub type of note there. So there is a kind of a nice woody type element with that flower. It's not just a bouquet getting shoved up your nose, which can be overpowering, off-putting. The other thing we want to look at is the leaves themselves. Fairly small, tightly wrapped leaves, so they're rolled up, or they're kind of balled up like they're little paper wads. They look to be, because of their size, they look like, in many cases, this is individual leaves rather than sets. Colors here, I get a little bit of a yellowish, I should say a green yellow, so it's a lighter color, over more towards a darker green, with a little bit of a kind of a green blue element there. You can also see here and there pieces of the stem where the leaf, or if there were more than one leaf, they'd be connected through a little bit of the stem or branch of the tea plant. So there's a little bit of that, indicating that in some cases that either used to be two leaves, one or more leaves connected together, two or more leaves connected together, or maybe they still are. So I'm going to kind of look at the wet leaf here to really determine more about that. To do that, I'm going to get ready to pour here. Let me push that over to the side just a little bit. So you can see as I angle the lid over to the side, creating a pouring space. It also gives air a chance to enter through the other side. So as I tilt this up, it flows, the liquor flows through smoothly. Looks good. Let me shake out those last few drops. it's always good to use a pouring vessel like this instead of pouring directly from a gaiwan into a cup, especially if you're serving more than one cup, because a lot of times the water at the top is thinner and lighter and in color and flavor than the water at the bottom. To resolve that issue, pour into a second vessel so it distributes evenly. Now let's talk about this wet leaf here. Okay, notes here, any kind of roasted notes, I was kind of looking again to see where this fit along the spectrum. Roasted heat notes are very light. I'm still getting mostly a kind of, again, that English Laura. It's got a little bit of a sweet, sappy, light wood, not a heavy lumber, old tree type, but again, something like a shrub. It's got a thick woody, it's got thicker woody branches to it. So it's, like I said, a light woody, still some floral aspects there. So it gives like even a little bit of a sweet sap type of smell coming off. One more time here. Yeah, those are the dominant notes. You may be able to pick out something that gets a little bit of like a sugar snap pea type smell coming out, light pea elements there. Looking at the leaves themselves, they have pretty much completely unfurled. I can pull them, I can flatten them out with my fingers quite easily, and you can see their full-sized leaves. Edges of the leaf are generally intact, at least in this case, meaning they didn't get harshly crumbled, so that you can actually unfurl one leaf, two here, if y'all wanted to kind of pull that apart, possibly a tip or bud there, but at least two leaves rolled together here. Let me pull out the next one. That one's just kind of a leaf, nearly half of a leaf, thicker, coarser. You can feel already just from that texture there. I'm noticing oxidation taking place, here and there. So you still have some jagged teeth edges of the natural tea leaf will have some kind of rust color to them, where oxidation did take place there. Okay, so let me get this individual leaf here. Just kind of at a glance, I'm getting what looks like more. Most of the time, these are loose individual leaves. Occasionally, I do find a pair, like this second. I found another pair here in my hand. But if I just kind of reach in randomly, most of what I'm getting, and when I say most, I'm saying around 80% are individual leaves. So that covers that. Edges, I should kind of take a quick look at some of this here. The ones that do have stems, fairly smooth, clean cut, so that there was some kind of knife or cutting tool either in a person's hand or most likely in a person's hand to get that nice straight cut on the stem there. Okay, so having said that, moving along then, I can talk about and show you this liquor. Let's have a look here. I'll give that a light swirl around so that you can kind of see through the steam that's collected on the sides here, and you see a nice bright golden yellow type color. Okay, not cloudy, still a little bit, still the English laurel smell coming out. Let me give it a pour here. Okay, give it a taste here. Even looking down into the cup, still a nice clean bright colors here. One more time. Still, English laurel is the dominant aspect coming out. Underneath that, get a little bit of a sugar snap pea, snow pea. There's that kind of sweet, fibrous, starchy kind of taste and feel. And what I mean by feel is There is an astringence here. It's gentle, but it's still enough to make you feel like you've just eaten some kind of raw vegetable. It's got a little bit. It's just kind of drying out the mouth just a little bit. And to my mind, that's that pea, that snow pea, sugar snap pea. That kind of texture, feel, and taste come to mind. Brothiness or texture-wise, it's fairly light. There's not a lot there that just really hits. It's not enough to say that it's honeyed. I can't really say that it has absolutely no texture. It's just slightly above watery. It's like a heavier mineral water. So it's got more than just a plain water, but not much more. The texture drops off. Any kind of smooth feel really drops off quickly and is replaced or is kind of dominated by that light astringent. And that astringent kind of doesn't rest really on top of the tongue. It rests underneath and the insides of the cheeks, so that it just feels like your mouth is kind of just drawing upwards a little bit with the dry aspect there. Aftertaste-wise, it's quite faint. There is something there. It does still have that English laurel aspect. Still kind of back underneath the tongue. There's a very gentle sweetness that's kind of lingering there. But again, it's quite faint. It's very gentle, and not as much texture. So, looking at this tea. When I tasted this tea off camera, I got similar results. Let me just kind of let this cool a little bit longer, see if I can pull anything more out of it. With the DongDing, some other Taiwanese oolongs, generally you can get more out of it as this tea cools. But compared to other DongDings, this one's leaning more towards Ali Shan characteristics than some other DongDings that have what I would classify as more characteristic DongDing aspects to it. This one's over more towards a lighter oxidized Ali Shan type character. One more try. See if this is cooled and changed character any. Not a lot has changed, so I'm going to give this tea an 86. It's got elements here and there. Again, brief, faint, but still something there. So come back to Walker Tea Review to explore teas from Taiwan, from China, and from really anywhere in the world.